Good morning. Welcome to the online class. Today we are going to see the geography part revision, that is fourth lesson, Hydrosphere. Already I have revised some of the answers, that is one words and 2 more, even give reasons also. Remaining the distinguish the following and answer in a paragraph. That questions we are going to see today. First, distinguish the following. First one, spring tide and neap tide. Distinguish spring tide and neap tide. That is page number 196. Page number 196. Under the headings tides, second para, when the sun, moon and the earth are allied in the same line, is the collective gravitational pull of the sun on the early sun and the moon earth strengthened to form the high tide known as spring tide. High tides. Spring tide means high tides or spring tides. How, when these spring tides or high tides form? When the sun, moon and the earth comes in a straight line. When the sun, moon and the earth comes in a straight line, the gravitational pull of the gravitational force will be high. That time the high tides or spring tides takes place. Then the neap tides. What is a neap tide? That is when the sun, the moon and are right angled. Sun and the moon in a right angle, there the gravitational force work against each other, causing low tide called neap tides. Low tides or neap tides. Low tides. When the low tide or neap tide takes place, when the sun and the moon comes in a right angle, that time the gravitational force of these sun and the moon against each other. So the gravitational pull will not be high, it will be low. So when it is low gravitational force, there will be a low tides or neap tides. A neap tide occurs between two spring tides twice a month. The low tides or neap tides takes place twice in a month, every fortnight. It means once in 15 days. Once in 15 days, the neap tides or low tides takes place. So this is a difference between the high tide and the low tide, or spring tide and the neap tide. Spring tide means high tide, neap tide means low tide. The next one is abyssal plain and ocean deeps. Abyssal plain and ocean deeps, that is page number 195. This is the relief features of the ocean. Relief features of the ocean. That is abyssal plains and ocean deeps. Ocean deeps. Page number 195. Under the heading deep sea plains or abyssal plains. The deep sea plains or abyssal plains are underwater plain found on the deep ocean floor. The relief features of the ocean, there is deep ocean floors are there. It is also called abyssal plain. These plains are usually covered by thick layers of sediments that is brought by the rivers. The rivers which brought into the ocean, that is sediments composed of clay, silt and sand brought by the rivers. All these brought clay, silt, all carried by the rivers and settles in the under the ocean, that is sediments. That is sediments. This abyssal plain consists of all thick layers of sediments. Thick layers of sediments. The sediment composed of clay, silt, and sand, which is carried by rivers. Almost all the rivers join in the ocean. Most of the rivers are joined in the ocean. These rivers carry a lot of clay, silt, and sand, all deposited in the deep sea plains, that is abyssal plain. Then the next one is ocean deeps. Ocean deeps is also one of the relief features of the ocean. The ocean deeps, trenches, and the deepest part of the ocean, and 7% of the total leaf of the ocean floor. Deep trenches, long, narrow deeps, that is trenches, and the deepest part of the oceans occupies. Deepest part of the oceans are found in the ocean deeps. 7% of the total leaf of the ocean is found in the ocean deeps. The ocean, as they are sediment free, here the sediments, no sediments are found in the ocean deeps. Most trenches are V-shaped with a steep side. Because why here not found the sediments? Because the sides of the trenches are V-shaped with the steep sides. No chance for the sedimentation. Here no chance for the sedimentation. So the sediments will not take place in this ocean deeps. Epicenter of the great earthquakes are all found in the trenches. Epicenter of the great earthquakes. In the ocean deeps, earthquakes takes place. If the earthquake takes place in the ocean deeps, tsunami takes place. One of the tsunami took place in the year 2004. That time, Indonesia ocean, the Indonesian ocean, the strong earthquake took place in the ocean floor. That is why the tsunami took place. That caused huge waves, and that huge waves caused the destruction of life and property. Like this, the V-shaped valleys, here the earthquakes takes place in the ocean deeps. It's a difference between the deep sea plains or the abyssal plain and the ocean deeps. Then answer in a paragraph. First paragraph about write a paragraph on the origin of oceans. The origin of ocean answer is not found in the book. Guide you have to see and study that first paragraph question. I'll tell you something about that first paragraph. It is origin of ocean. Geoscientists believe that the ocean's continuous body of salt water. If you taste that ocean water, it will be salty. Were formed by the earth. This ocean water formed nearly 300 crores of years ago. That is 3 billion. 1 billion is equal to 100 crores. 100 crores. That is 300 crores of years ago, this ocean is formed. That water is salty. Salty. That the beginning, the planet Earth is a planet. You know, water in the beginning, in due course, slowly, the time, course of time, the Earth started cooling. Earth started cooling because the steam escaped from the interior of the Earth and entered the atmosphere. The atmosphere clouds are formed, and the clouds brought incessant rains, continuous rainfall. The steam which came out from the deep interior part of the earth, that entered into the atmosphere, and the atmosphere formed the clouds. Because of that, the earth got incessant rainfall, continuous rainfall that caused the ocean. The rainwater filled the depressions of tens and thousands of years and formed the ocean. The deepest part that water is filled, the continuous rainfall, because of the continuous rainfall, the water filled in the deepest part and formed the ocean. The ocean, the earth is the two parts, that is northern hemisphere and southern hemisphere. The globe is divided into northern hemisphere and southern hemisphere. The northern hemisphere is known as land hemisphere, and the southern hemisphere is known as the water hemisphere. Why? Because the northern hemisphere holds 61% of land and the southern hemisphere holds 81% of water. Because of this pattern of land and water distributed, the northern hemisphere is called land hemisphere and the southern hemisphere is known as water hemisphere. Most of the part, that is 61% of northern hemisphere full of land and southern hemisphere 81% of the southern hemisphere covered by water. So the northern hemisphere is known as land hemisphere and the southern hemisphere is known as water hemisphere. Because of the immense availability of food and minerals available in the oceans, and seas also called resource bowl of the earth. Why the water body is known as resource bowl of the earth? Because here we found that immense availability of food and minerals. Food, that means seafood. Fish is the most valuable food. It is very important for the human beings. It is available in the oceans and the sea. It is available plenty, so we are eating that food. We are getting the food from the sea. And the minerals also, petroleum, natural gas, these are all available in the ocean and the sea. So it is the resource bowl of the earth. So it is called the resource bowl of the earth. Then the next paragraph heading is write a note on continental shelf and continental slope. You have to write about the continental shelf and continental slope. That is page number 193 and 94. First, we are going to see about continental shelf. This is one of the relief features of the ocean floor. Continental shelf is one of the relief features of the ocean floor. The shallow and gently sloping platform extending from the adjoining continental landmass into the sea is called continental shelf. It is almost uniform zone of the seabed with a gentle gradient. That is continental shelf. Yes. They are shallower. This enables sunlight to penetrate. This shallow water body enables to penetrate the sunlight into the water. Abundant, so it helps to grow the abundant growth of grass, seaweeds, and plankton. Hence, these zones became the richest fishing grounds in the world. Example, the Grand Banks of Newfoundland is an example of this continental shelf. Here, there are many fishing grounds. here more fish available because the marine life is found more in this continental shelf because the seafood are available in this shallow region, the continental shelf region. The continental shelf has extensive deposits of minerals and mineral fuels. Hence, this zone became accessible for oil drilling and mining activities. Example, Mumbai High. Mumbai High example for oil drilling. Oil drilling takes place in Mumbai High. That is in the continental shelf. Then the next key features of this ocean is continental slope. Continental slope. The about continental slope. The next to the continental shelf, continental slope is there. Continental slope. The continental slope descends from edge of the continental shelf to the deep ocean bed. It forms boundary between the continental crust and the oceanic crust. This zone is free from deposits as they are steep. The most important characteristics of continental slope is presence of deep canyons and trenches. That is narrow deeps are found in this region and trenches. Due to this low penetration here, because of this deep, narrow, the sunlight will not penetrate, get into the such a deep place, so that the slope has nearly a freezing temperature. The temperature is very low. Low temperature is found because here the sunlight is not penetrating due to this narrow deep. Hence aquatic life has very slow rate of metabolism. Very low percentage of marine life is found in this ocean deep. Yes. So this is all about the second detail. That is the second detail. Next, third one, what do you mean by ocean currents? Explain its type. That is page number 196. Page number 196. Ocean currents. Ocean, what do you understand about the ocean currents? That is page number 196, ocean currents heading. The movement of oceanic water on the surface and at the depths is definite direction is called ocean currents. In the definite direction, the movement of water, surface of the ocean and the under the ocean, depth of the ocean, there is a movement of water, ocean water, surface of the ocean and the depth of the ocean, the water is moving definite direction. Definite direction is known as ocean current. Ocean currents are in clockwise motion in the northern hemisphere, clockwise and anti-clockwise. Two types, northern hemisphere clockwise motion, the southern hemisphere anti-clockwise motion, the southern hemisphere. What are the factors generate ocean currents? What are the factors generate ocean currents? That is earth rotation, prevailing winds, differences in temperature and salinity of ocean water. These are all the factors generate the ocean currents. Mostly the earth rotation, prevailing winds, all these factors included in the ocean currents. On the basis of temperature, ocean currents are classified into warm currents and cold currents. On the basis of temperature, the ocean currents classified into warm current and cold currents. The movement of ocean currents from the low latitudes, 0 degree latitude, 22.5 degree latitude, these are all low latitudes. From this, that means the central part, tropical region. From the moment the ocean current starts from the tropical region to polar region, that ocean current is known as warm current. That ocean current is known as warm current. And the high latitudes, 6600 degree latitude and 90 degree latitudes, that is the movement of the ocean current starts from the polar region to the tropical region. That currents are called cold currents. Cold currents. Example: Gulf Stream, Atlantic Ocean, North Equatorial Currents, and the Pacific Ocean. Every oceans there are some ocean currents. They have named the ocean currents. So on the basis of the temperature, ocean currents are classified into warm and cold currents. Warm currents start from the low latitudes to high altitude. That current which start from the low latitude to from low latitude towards goes towards the high latitude. That is the warm currents. The cold current means the high latitudes. From high latitude towards the low latitudes. That means the water current starts from the polar region and goes towards the tropical region. That currents are known as cold currents. Then one more question. Explain the influences of the marine resources on mankind. Explain the influences of the marine resources of mankind. That is page number 197, marine resources. The biotic and abiotic resources found in the oceanic water and at the bottoms are called marine resources. Found in the oceanic water at the bottoms are called marine resources. The ocean's resources play a vital role in sustaining the needs of society. A diverse array of marine organisms is used for food, medicine, cosmetic, and wealth of the industrial applications. For many purposes, we are using the marine life. All these purposes, we have mentioned so many purposes of using the marine life. This used more indispensable for the human beings. It is more useful for the human beings. The world's demand for energy, minerals, and water have become increasingly dependent on non-living marine resources. Living and non-living marine resources are available. This is used for the human beings. More energy is produced from this marine. So this is a small answer you can easily learn from this. So I have completed all these distinguished from this lesson and answered in a paragraph. So you can learn easily from all these answers. Okay, thank you. You can see the next class.